Hello everyone, this is Arthur Morris and welcome to Graphing Linear Equations by using the slope and Y-intercept. Okay, to use the slope and Y-intercept to graph a line, the first thing that we need to do is to solve the equation for Y. In other words, get Y by itself so that we will have the equation in slope-intercept form, which is Y equals mx plus b. Now the m in that equation, the number that's in the place of m, represents the slope. And the number that's in the place of b in that equation represents the y-intercept. Now again, we only have to have 2 points to be able to graph the equation of a line. One of those points could be the y-intercept, and that's one reason we could use this form. The slope gives us directions on how to get from point to point on the line. So after we identify and plot the y-intercept point, remember that the y-intercept is on the y-axis. Then we would use the slope to get to another point. So our third step would be to identify and use the slope in the form of rise over run to find and plot another point. And we can continue to use the slope to plot ever how many points we wanted to plot. So if we wanted to plot 3 points, we could use slope again, that pattern. If we wanted to plot another point, we could use that pattern again from each point that we plot. So the slope gives us directions on how to get from one point on the line to another point on the line. Now please note some instructors may require that you have at least 3 points to be plotted. Fourth step, draw a line through the points. Okay, so let's take a look at a few examples. Right, this first one we want to graph f of x equals 5x minus 2. Now, please note that f parentheses x, stated f of x, is the same thing as y. This is just written in what we call function notation. So that equation is the same thing as y equals 5x minus 2. So this is already in our slope-intercept form. Remember, slope-intercept form has y by itself in the equation, and it's in the form of y equals mx plus b. Now, in this case, the number that's in the place of b is negative 2. So my y, the coordinates of my y-intercept would be 0, negative 2. And remember, the x is always 0 for the y-intercept when you write it in ordered pair form. So I would plot the point 0, negative 2, there. Now my next step is to identify and use the slope to get to another point on that line. So my slope is 5. For graphing purposes, we're going to write that in fraction form. So if it's not in fraction form, we would place it over 1 for graphing purposes because we want to rise over run. Now what this slope tells me is to go up 5 places, 5 units, and to the right 1 unit and plot another point. Now we started the first point that we plotted, the y-intercept point. Then we will go up 5 places, to the right 1 place, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, counting the origin, to the right 1, and we could plot another point. Now the slope gives us a pattern. It gives us directions on how to get from point to point on a line. So I can use that pattern again and again. It's like making $5 every 1 hour. I'm going up 5 and over to the right 1. So I can do it again. Go up 5 places, to the right 1 place, and plot another point. And our line would go through those points. Okay, let's look at another example. In this one, we have 2x plus y equals 7. 2x plus y equals 7. So remember that our first step was to solve the equation for y if it was not already in that form. So 2x plus y equals 7. I want to subtract the 2x from each side to get y by itself, the y term by itself. So now I have positive 1y equals, write your negative 2x first, and the 7 was positive, so I would write plus 7. We cannot combine those two, the 7 and the negative 2x, because they are not like terms. The 7 doesn't have an x. So we can just write them on the same line, side by side. Y equals negative 2x plus 7. Now we have it in that special form again, the slope-intercept form, and we can identify those two pieces of information. Remember, the y-intercept is the point where the line crosses the y-axis. And in this case, that point is 0, 7. From there, we would use our slope. And in this case, our slope is negative 2. But for graphing purposes, we want it in fraction form, so we would write that negative 2 over positive 1. So this tells me to go down 2 places and then to the right 1 and plot my next point. So you will see that when your slope is negative, that your line will fall to the right as you go from left to right. So down 2 places and to the right 1, and my next point is right there. Down 2 more places and to the right 1 more place. There. And I can continue to do that for as many points as I wanted or needed. Now, please note, if you happen to run out of room, you can always go the exact opposite direction. So if I can go down 2 places and to the right 1 place, I can always go back home by going up 2 and to the left 1. So if I chose to, I can start back at this y-intercept and go up 2 places and to the left 1 place, and I would still be on that same line. So you can always go back home or always go in the opposite direction, exact opposite direction of whatever your slope is. Okay, let's look at one more example. All right, we have negative 5x plus 2y equals 20. So again, to graph by using the slope and y-intercept, we need the equation in slope-intercept form, which simply means we need the y variable to be by itself on one side of the equation by itself. So again, let's start off by moving the x term. This time we have negative 5x, so we want to add 5x to each side. So bring down my positive 2y. If that was a minus, I would bring down a negative 2y. So be careful with your signs. So I have 5x plus 20. Both of my numbers were positive, so they will both be positive when I write them on the same line, 5x plus 20. Now, I don't want 2 times y, I want 1y. So to undo 2 times y, we divide each side by 2. And dividing this whole side by 2 is the same thing as dividing each individual term by 2. So now I have y equals 5 over 2 times x plus 10. So again, we are now in that slope-intercept form, so now I can identify my y-intercept, which is the positive 10, which is 0, negative 10 in ordered pair form. And I can identify my slope, which is the number that's being multiplied by x. It's 5 over 2. And this time it is already in fraction form. So start off by plotting the y-intercept point. That's your starting point for this line, positive 10. Now my slope tells me to go up 5 places and to the right 2 places, but as you can see, my graph doesn't have enough room for me to go up and to the right. So I'm going to do just the exact opposite of up and to the right and go down and to the left. So I'm going to go down 5 places and to the left 2 places, which is the same thing as going up and to the right. It's just the exact opposite. So down 5 places, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To the right, to the left, 2, 1, 2. And I can do that again if I needed another point. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To the left, 2. Now, if any of you are using some online homework component, you may not be able to plot 3 points. So just be aware of whatever system you are using. You may only be able to plot 2 points, which is okay because you only have to have 2 points to be able to draw the line of an equation. Okay, I hope that you found that to be helpful. Thank you.